guru. I'm trichologist Lisa Akbari, and I am going to be your hair guru today. So, we want to talk about hair loss. Hair loss is something that many women and men suffer with, but there's a different type of hair loss that we're finding. We've heard of male pattern, female pattern, and that's where the follicle internally is malfunctioning, but we are not focusing on a different type, and that's called follicular epidermis alopecia. It's more of an external follicular hair loss. It's alopecia because with the naked eye, you will not be able to see that you have hair loss. And also, you have these density changes. Hairs per square inch are are starting to decrease in numbers. So these are all signs. But the biggest telltale sign is itchy, flaky tenderness. Now, also you have to think about this because some people they're not as sensitive, their receptors are not as sensitive to these symptoms. So you want to look at your scalp and see redness. You will find redness. That's going to give you a better indication that there may be FEA or follicular epidermis alopecia present. And also I have these virtual analysis and strand readings that I will do. So if you're male and you're bald, or female that's bald, we can do the virtual analysis. And I can give you a link. I'll maybe put one there. Or you can go to my website, Lisa at no, sorry. You can email me, Lisa at lisaakbari.com, or you can go to my website, www.lisaakbari.com. And I'm going to put all of those on this page. Okay, now what's important that you understand, you have you may not be sensitive to that, but you will find density inconsistencies. Hairs per square inch are beginning to decrease in numbers. So let's talk about how these blockages and ingrown hairs can occur. First, you have the three categories of pollutants: cosmetic, where you may hear about moisturizing shampoos, conditioning shampoos, and hydrating shampoos. Those are not shampoos that will work with your hair and scalp. They won't clean, they soften your hair, but they don't clean your hair and scalp. So you need to clarify. And you have to remember that some of these programs say purify or clarify, but they do not allow that deep cleaning. So they will say step 2 is you must use a hydrating shampoo afterwards. So be careful about that. Now let's talk about these pollutants. The cosmetic pollutants are not clean products. We don't want to use those. Environmental pollutants, dust, dirt, and debris, sometimes they have color, sometimes they don't. And then you have scalp pollutants. Scalp pollutants occur when the scalp actually is not allowed to cleanse and rejuvenate itself. The epidermis is what you really want to rejuvenate because you get those new cells from the from the dermis, and then they rise up. But the scalp can self pollute if it's not cleaned properly, clean as often as it needs to be. After about 3 days, you're going to begin to get a little bit of a buildup. After 6 to 7 days, you will begin to solidify those pollutants. Those three categories of pollutants will solidify. So remember, it's very, very important for you to shampoo if you have a problem already. inside of about 3 to 4 days. And if you don't have any problems or you feel like you might have something flaring up, you want to stay inside of 6 to 7 days. I would say 6 days. Okay, so let's talk about this. How does this happen? The hairs will grow through the follicle and they will become trapped with one of these pollutants. The hairs will grow through the follicle, make it out of the follicle. Those are the ingrown hairs. And then they will become sandwiched between the solidified pollutants and the epidermis. So that's what happens. So you have to remember that you have to make sure that you do not allow the redness or inflammation to occur or tenderness to occur, because that can destroy the follicle, which is the next thing. Those follicles, they're tiny organs, not life sustaining, but they're very small organs. And these tiny organs can be destroyed. So inflammation within any organ or around any organ of the body eventually will destroy it. And if you have that inflammation around that follicle, it will eventually destroy that follicle. You cannot have a hair growth without a follicle. Remember that. So I want you to pause and get questions and type in those if you need to. Okay? Because I want to get this feedback. This is crucially important. I do these virtual analysis and strand readings every day, mostly a few times a week. And I have the same questions, but I can share my screen with you and I can help you to understand more about how this whole process occurs. This different category or this different type of alopecia that can be reversed. But with the scar tissue, we don't want to wait till we have destroyed our follicles. So remember that. Okay. All right. So I want you to keep in mind, I need your questions. I need your feedback. All right. So let's talk about a little bit more about how often you should really shampoo. You should shampoo at least every 6 to 7 days for prevention, and every 3 to 4 days if you have a problem with alopecia of any type, because you want to keep the mouth of the follicle clear and open. What shampoo should you use? You should use a clarifier. Now, what's important about the shampoo is you need to use a clarifier, one that has a pH of the hair and scalp. The hair and scalp is slightly acidic within reaction. So the pH comes from something called acid mantle. It's a secretion from your oil glands or sebaceous glands and your sweat glands that gives the hair a pH, the scalp a pH, and ultimately giving the hair a pH. When you shampoo with things that are hydrating, moisturizing, conditioning, you are not getting the pH. They have too many fillers. They're not clean. Also, the pH, you remember there's these commercials that said pH balance. You no longer hear a lot of those. And that's because the hair is at least 100 times more acidic than 7. The pH scale, the hair is 4.5 to 5.5. And so it's more acidic in reaction. 7, it's at least 100 times more. 7 is right in the middle of that pH scale. Okay. All right. So I feel like I have a lot of questions coming at me right now, but I want you to share them with me and let me know how I'm doing. Okay? Because I am here for you. This is only supposed to be 10 minutes with the hair doctor, Trichologist Lisa Akbari, your hair guru. I said hair doctor, your hair guru. I've earned it. Okay, guys, thank you so much. You have a blessed, wonderful rest of your evening. And questions. I need questions. Remember, you can follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and this YouTube. And subscribe to my YouTube page so that you can get alerts at all times about my videos whenever I do a new Ask the Hair Guru topic. And make suggestions. Thanks again. You guys have a blessed, wonderful, love you, love you. To God be the glory in Jesus. I love you. Thank you. Talk to you soon. Bye.